All right, everyone, happy Thanksgiving. This is Judge James, and I thought today, before Cooper and I kick off our solo session of Nebin Pendlebrook's Perilous Pantry, I would show off our Dwarven Forge build of this awesome, awesome module. This is essentially it's a zero level funnel for Dungeon Crawl Classics by Mark Bishop, published by Purple Sorcerer Games. And when I was looking to accomplish some of my challenge for the next year of finishing up all of these modules in 1 year, I was looking for what adventures could I run with Cooper, as Cooper has a preference to play with the Dwarven Forge. Of course, why wouldn't he? And what adventures I had that have maps that are conducive to Dwarven Forge setups. And I went with Nebin Pendlebrook's Perilous Pantry because it made the most sense. Just crack this open to the map. How hard would it be to take this map and convert it to Dwarven Forge using just what I have right now, which is most of Caverns Deep, the main sets along with the ice sets, and then I have quite a bit of Dungeon of Doom as well. And there's a few things that are non-Dwarven Forge in here. For instance, the skull there is from a Michaels, I believe. It's not it's supposed to be Morty from Planescape Torment. But we're going to play a little bit, and before we started messing up the board, I thought we'd showcase things here and take in a walkthrough of how we built this. You're going to note as we go through here that there are several occasions where I had to either improvise with some pieces that don't quite match up, or I had to change around the layout. There's one segment, mostly in the middle here, where I had to completely invert where I had the rooms set up. And then in the end of the adventure, essentially the last few rooms, I had to play with the size and the scale. Mostly because I was running out of corner pieces. I have a lot more Caverns Deep than I do Dungeon of Doom. Maybe I'll remedy that just after Christmas. But the other issue, of course, was I was running out of length. I wanted this to be a 2 foot by 4 foot setup, and I ended up using a lot of room on the first 1 by 2 foot segment, just because I could. So if you beginning of the map, really rooms 1-1 through 1-4, that's all of this cavern area here, and it doesn't really translate in size exactly, but we did our best, and we'll just take you on a tour of the build here. So first off, we've got Cooper's character coming in. That's Ember and his War Penguin Dave descending down from this the top, from essentially behind Nebin Pendlebrook's house, going through the secret door into the dungeon below. I used just a bunch of these raised pieces to get some elevation. This is the first Dwarven Forge build I've put together where I really played with a full elevation. The last build I had a centerpiece that was elevated, but I wanted to, I feel, descending down into the dungeon and then raising up towards the end, towards the final room. So there he is. It's lit up, and you can see from his view, I guess the view if you were to come in from the front. Can I open this? I'll move him out of the way. Would be, you're looking down into the caverns below. And, this is one place where I did make a bit of a change. It's supposed to be a giant fall here, a drop down below into a swamp, into a great cavern, or, to your doom or demise if you miss this portion. There's like a log here in the middle. But I made it just a floating piece of boat because I figured this is a solo adventure for a second level character, is how I'm running this, with some modifications, since Cooper's playing by himself today with his thief character Ember. A conversion of his fantasy age character. He's same character, just different system. So this isn't quite as challenging. There's not so much instant death, although death is a possibility. You'll see there is the spider here in a little webbing area, so he's ready to go. And then you can climb over to the main entrance of the dungeon. I unfortunately don't have any burrows. This was a challenging area here. On the map here, you can see 1-4 leads to 1-7B and 1-7A. It's not the best analogy, but it's not the best translation. but it's close. So, you know, there is if I had burrows, the burrow set, it'd be a smaller, tighter walkway in to the these two chambers, but I don't have that, so I end up using larger cavern pieces. In hindsight, I probably could have done this narrower, but I didn't, and therefore it's just a big, giant area. I did put a secret door in here. I love these secret doors because, you know, they're secret. That's the best description, I guess. But the center piece of the room, as you move in, you know, on the map, you'll enter in the adventure itself, and spoilers, in the adventure itself, there is this room with these fountains, and essentially a doorway that leads out into a void. And in this wizard's, what is it called here? It is called the Wellspring. In this chamber, which is supposed to be 40 by 50 feet, and I got the dimensions a little bit off. I made it longer than it had to be, just to have a room with some more space. You're supposed to have a giant fountain in the center, and there's supposed to be like a double-headed dog monster. I don't have a double-headed dog, so I'm just gonna like put these things together, and that's the two-headed dog. I made some tables out of just some wooden planky things on top of single square pieces or coffins. I have a fountain for one of the demonic fountain I have. This is just Reaper Bones. And then there's a doorway in the back, and this will of course lead to the scene where if you open it up, there's a void beyond. To get the water effect, I don't have water. I used this, obviously I don't water my board. I used the glowing portal pack thing from the original, from Caverns Deep, and I have this ice. And I put the ice on top, and I was playing around. I felt like the ice was sort of neutralized, and it's translucent, right? So it was sort of neutralized the blue, the icy effect, and it looks kind of like shimmering water that's pulling up. So again, sometimes it's just trying to get a similar feel, and it's better than not using Dwarven Forge, right? There's a lot of little nooks and crannies in here to walk through. I expect this area to take him quite a bit of time. I don't expect we're going to get through this module in one day. We're starting it today on Thanksgiving, and we're going to play for probably a few days. You know, usually Cooper's good for about 45 minutes to an hour, and I don't push it. You know, he's 10, so I try to give him as much game time as he wants. All right, so this middle section is where we had to invert things. On the map, let me go back to our map to show here. On the map, there's this central hallway here. This is like 1-10. And it leads down into a place to cook, right? Where there's a worm that'll attack. Well, I don't have that ability to have this long central piece. I kind of had messed the build up a little bit, so I inverted it. So instead of having the pantry over here, I put it on that side. I was able to use some of this wall. I was making it a little dilapidated with some ruins pieces. And because I love the Dwarven Forge piece itself, which this is the original this is the Dwarven Forge itself, I used it as a stove. Put some cookware in there, and there is the worm monster, another Reaper Bones maggoty dude. So he'll erupt out of this floor here, his busted floor, and he'll be a combatant. So he's pretty cool. And then ascending up, the party would eventually, or party of one in this instance, the party would eventually climb up into the area where Nebin Pendlebrook himself is. That is the Dwarven Sanctum hallway. Made a bunch of changes here. I wanted this room to feel majestic, and in the adventure, Nebin Pendlebrook is on like a throne on top of an undead turtle. I don't have an undead turtle. I have a crab. So this is and I have a throne behind it. So we're gonna use that as the undead crab. He's blue, it's fine. And then I have 3, I don't have dwarven skeletons, just regular skeletons. We'll say they're relatively short. Oh no, I don't think he's gonna care that much. Cooper's excited whenever he sees this stuff. So that's gonna be that central room with the undead Nebin Pendlebrook. And then there's a room with just some surplus gear and equipment. I attached that to the side of the room. You know, there's a little simple doorway to get through. And again, kind of a in the module, you climb down to that room, and there's beds and things. I have sleeping bags. You know, we do what we can. All right, so the final part of the adventure is a climb up a stairwell with crypts along the sides into this giant mouth entrance of a room, into the final room where there is a wizard encased in ice. And there'll be a fight with a golem in there. And what I did here is I took the jawbone off of my Morty skull, and this is the view coming into that room. So the character, Ember, will have to climb up into the mouth of that skull, and the entrance goes in from beneath the mouth. And you can maneuver the figures around there, although the skull is a little wobbly. I don't have crypt doors, so I use these. These can come off. These little, inserts, they can come off and out. So we can talk about those when I'm in the game. And the final room is just beyond. Before I get to that room, you can note I used a lot of the risers, and I altered the height. So the elevation starts at just 2 pieces high, then to 3, then to 4, and then the last set is higher. So it does stairwell up, as it goes to the final chamber. I have the skull. If I pull it off, it's going to be wobbly. I used the pier system, the docks from Caverns Deep, as sort of a mounting system that'll keep the skull stable. So it doesn't make it the most even, but it does keep it there, and it does keep it from collapsing on the figures below. In the final chamber, I don't have a really good large stone golem. I have like a crypt golem, so it's all like tombstones and stuff, and I haven't used it in gameplay yet. That was pretty cool. And then the final wizard that is trapped, the lizard-headed wizard, he's underneath the ice. So boom, when Cooper gets to that room, which will probably be not in the first session, but he will free the wizard. So that's the build. You can see all lit up. Hopefully this is a fun series of games for Cooper. You can see we're all ready to play. His dice are out. His character sheet is out. We're standing behind, of course, the epic image of Ember and Dave. That's the art I got for him for his birthday, custom made for this character. So this should be a fun session. Hopefully something memorable for him, something he will appreciate later in life, perhaps. And if not, well, I will appreciate it later in my life. Not sure what adventure we're going to do next with the Dwarven Forge. I'm hoping after the holidays to pick up a little bit more, maybe. I want a few more walls and corridors for the the Dungeon of Doom. I have a ton of caverns deep, and I really do want the burrows. I really want that 1-inch wide set of tunnels, because I feel like I could make a lot of cool, interesting little passages between walls and areas without having to use the much larger, these cavern pieces are pretty big, for the corridors. And while these are freaking awesome, they do take up a lot of space. I don't have the biggest table, and as I've said before, I don't plan on getting a bigger table. This is my gaming table I've been gaming on since the early 2000s. This table has too many dice rolled on it, too many memories for me to get rid of at this point. This is, for me, the ultimate gaming table. So I hope you enjoyed the build and everything. If you're watching on YouTube, we'll be back live on Sunday night for our Living for Crit show. And there's Cooper coming into the room. You can say hi. I was doing a show off of the room, but you can't look at the board because the monsters are on there. Close your eyes. Run back upstairs. Go. And there's Ridley, and he's downstairs too because... Hi, Ridley. Are you going to play? No, he's not. All right. Well, everyone, have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your gaming. Hopefully some of your Thanksgiving elsewhere. Have a great one. Bye-bye.